to respect the results.
Well, a significant development in Brexit. Theresa May announcing to the House that there are going to be 3 votes, one on whether or not they back her deal on Tuesday the 12th of March, one on whether they back no deal on Wednesday the 13th of March, and one on whether they back an extension to Article 50 on the 14th of March. Analysts suggesting that now it appears the options of a no deal and us leaving on the 29th have faded away into the distance. Let's bring in our Deputy Political Editor, Beth Ridley, who's in Westminster for us. Has she given in to people like Nick Bowles and Oliver Letwin, who were going to be putting in an amendment tomorrow?
Well, Jane, this really is quite an important moment, a very important moment, actually, because what the Prime Minister has done in effect is she's turned the debate from it's my deal or no deal to it's my deal or a delay, because the reality is if there is a vote against her deal and then a vote on no deal, a no deal will not pass through the Commons. So she's in effect taken that off the table, having promised and promised and promised for months and months and months that was something she simply would not do, promising her Brexiteers that it had to be an option. Indeed, even in Sharm el-Sheikh yesterday when we asked her, insisting that she wouldn't even countenance a delay, and yet here she is. And why? Well, simply I think she's been overruled by her cabinet, facing mass resignations. But anyway, I have Jacob Rees Mogg here, a leading Brexiteer. We haven't heard any reaction from the Brexiteers, so let's ask Jacob, what does he think? What do you think, Jacob? You must be disappointed.
Well, it entirely depends on what it means, because having listened to the Prime Minister's statement, what she's effectively saying is that the House of Commons will have the opportunity to move the date of exit from the 29th of March to the 30th of June. But there's no evidence that a new deal can be agreed that would be acceptable to Parliament in that period. So the cliff edge, if that's the term people want to use, has merely been moved back. And there is no willingness to delay beyond the new European Parliament forming. So it doesn't offer Parliament very much. And people who want delay really have to think about, what do they want delay for? Do they want it because they're trying to stymie leaving the European Union altogether, which I think is the case for many of them? Or do they want it really to help the Prime Minister get a deal, which I think is a minority view?
In terms of her deal, though, as a Brexiteer, it now seems to me that you have an option of voting for her deal or facing an extension to Article 50 and also a vote emphatically in there against a no-deal Brexit. Does it make you more minded to support her?
Her deal is unsatisfactory on a number of grounds, but particularly in relation to the Irish backstop. Now, if that can be changed, if the negotiations that are going on can change that within the next fortnight, then there is a chance that people will vote for her deal. But if the backstop remains unchanged, no, this brinksmanship, this sort of effort of call my bluff, is not going to change people's minds to back her deal.
Are you worried that Brexit will be delayed?
There is obviously the possibility that Brexit will be delayed, but if Brexit were to be delayed to change the backstop to the Malthouse Compromise, that would be positive, and to allow time for legislation to get through, that again would be perfectly acceptable. If it's being delayed, which is my suspicion, as a plot to stop Brexit altogether, then I think that would be the most grievous error that politicians could commit. It would be overthrowing a referendum result, 2 general elections, one to call for the referendum, one to endorse the referendum, and would undermine our democracy.
And a Prime Minister that could be complicit in that plot, a Remainer Prime Minister who actually at the end has thrown the Brexiteers under the bus and sided with the Europhiles in her cabinet. Isn't that what is going on here?
I don't think so. I think that overstates it. I think the Prime Minister would prefer to leave on the 29th of March, but there is a reality within the parliamentary arithmetic, and this is important, that of 650 MPs, perhaps 500 have always been in favour of the United Kingdom's membership of the EU, and that regrettably has left a disconnect between the voters and those who represent them in Parliament, and that is a problem at the core of British politics, and it's not a problem that we have had previously in our history.
Just finally, Jacob, I know that you are very clear about what concessions you need agreed on the backstop to vote for Mrs May's deal. But the ERG isn't a unified bunch. And some of the softer Brexiteers, if you like, might look at this and focus their minds on backing Mrs May in order to exit when we're meant to. Do you think it makes her deal more likely to go through now?
Well, it lost last time by 230 votes. It needs to win a very large number of people over to have a chance of getting through. It needs to win 115 people to change their votes. That's not just one or two soft Brexiteers who can be peeled off easily. Though you are right to say, and I'm glad you have said, that the ERG is not a party within a party. We're not an organisation that follows strict rules. We are individual MPs who are concerned about Brexit.
OK, well, thank you very much.
And
I'm sure we'll get more feedback, Jane, through the afternoon about this big shift in government policy. It looks like no deal is fading fast as an option, with the possibility now of an extension if MPs like Jacob Rees-Mogg will not back Mrs May's deal, and that vote at the latest now on March the 12th.
Beth, thanks very much for that.